rival. And joining us now is Senior Fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracy's Behnam Ben Taleblu. How do you read this border wall? Is it primarily about security, or is it a sign of a regime that is feeling threatened by unrest at home?
Well, no doubt, and it's a pleasure to be with you, Natasha. No doubt the regime is feeling the pain right now because today is day 12 of what we could more appropriately call a nationwide anti-regime uprising. This is the largest uprising since the 12-day war and also since the 2022-23 Women Life Freedom Movement. And literally what we're seeing on the streets of Tehran now as we speak is the contagion effect of these protests. And yes, there have been many more cities in the center and in the west protesting. So no doubt the regime thinks it's stopping, arms flow, individuals who go back and forth, particularly from Iraqi Kurdistan to Iranian Kurdistan. But also it may be trying to thwart Starlink terminals and other forms of trafficked satellite internet, because we know right now there is a selective internet shutdown going on in parts of the country that could, God forbid, end up replicating the nationwide shutdown that we saw in 2019. And if past this prologue, when there is a nationwide shutdown, there is a massive crackdown.
How is the Islamic Republic responding to the fact that protesters have taken control of these two western cities, Abdanan and Malakshai, in Iran's Kurdish region?
Well, precisely by pretending that they haven't. The regime is trying right now, as you mentioned in your first question, to feign some kind of an approach to get people off the streets, to make sure that it can diffuse the situation before it goes into cities or places that it doesn't control, and send in massive force. You have the regime talking about doing everything like from being willing to take preemptive military action. That's a press release that the country's defense council, the newly formed defense council, just put out 2 days ago, to talk of trying to merge exchange rates to render some of these protesters apathetic. But all of this, I would say, is too little, too late. This is a regime that has lost sovereignty and legitimacy across large parts of the country already.
All right. Well, we're running low on time, so I just kind of want to hear what your take is on this. Obviously, we saw massive protests back in 2022. That didn't end up leading to regime change. What's different now? Do you think that this is a moment in which we're going to see the Iranian people ultimately topple the Islamic Republic?
No doubt the Iranian people need help. I don't know a population that for 8 years has been willing to engage in an unarmed national uprising and still have the international community doubt their resolve, their bravery. So when you're taking on such an armed security state, what might give you some wind beneath your wings? Perhaps a statement from Donald Trump that makes it different this time. The president's potential willingness to actually either militarily or covertly or economically stand with the Iranian protesters to rob the regime potentially of oil revenue or target the repression apparatus. That could make it different. But again, for the acute Iran observer and the Middle East observer, particularly post-October 7, this is critical because folks said after the 12-day war that there would be a rally around the flag. If you just take a look at the videos coming out of Iran just today, you see Iranian demonstrators burning regime flags, the exact opposite that the experts said is proving to be true.
Well, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us. Unfortunately, we're going out for a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about Lebanon, which says Hezbollah and other non-state armed groups have been completely dismantled, even if that's not true.